This is the West Michigan Sports Show, presented by Dasos Digital. Now, here's your host, Brandon Wirth.
Welcome in, everybody, to the West Michigan Sports Show, presented by our great friends at Dasos Digital. Brandon Wirth joining you here live on News Radio WBRN. Thanks for all that are tuning in with us here this afternoon when they're listening to us live on WBRN via 96.5, 107.7, or 1460 at 3:30 p.m., as well as you can check this post-produced, WBRN.com, as well as all over Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other platforms. We're so glad you're tuning in. We'll get a score report here. We got district final football scores as well as tournament volleyball scores from this past week. And then we'll also get into the other half of the cross-country scoreboard that we weren't able to get to on last week's show. And we'll get you on your way here this Saturday. A busy afternoon indeed for those around Big Rapids, especially if you're a Ferris State Bulldogs fan. We just talked about that on Behind the Bulldogs here earlier on at 3 o'clock live over the airwaves. A lot of stuff going on, to say the least. So if you're around Big Rapids, make your way down to Ferris State. You can watch soccer in the morning, football in the mid-afternoon, as well as volleyball in the late afternoon, and then hockey at night. Going to be a loaded schedule for all of our Bulldog fans. But big thanks goes out to those that make this podcast possible. Those include, but aren't limited to, all of our great friends over there, especially at Johnson's Automotive, the Schuberg Insurance Agency, Quality Car and Truck Repair, Ultra Care of Big Rapids, Paris Auto Sales and Service of Big Rapids, Motor the Mecosta Tesla Transit Authority, as well as the Mecosta Osceola Career Center. And of course, Dasos Digital, our primary sponsor. Get yourself navigated through the digital wilderness with the experts of DasosDigital.com, whether it's social media, advertising, digital campaigns, as well as website design and more. Dasos Digital can help with all of those things. So we will get to our scores from around the league. We'll start with football here this past Friday, yesterday, if you're listening to this live on November 8th. Boy, what a game we had over in Reed City and as well over in Newaygo that we had. Overall, it was a fantastic venue. It seemed like at both places as well as Big Rapids. We'll start with the Cardinals. Their season unfortunately came to an end last night on Friday against the Whitehall Vikings in a district championship revenge game. 17-7 was your final score. Whitehall had been looking forward to this game for 365 days when their potential Ford Field run was cut short due to the Cardinals and their historic run last year. So you knew the Whitehall Vikings were coming in, especially for a team. What was super impressive from especially what Big Rapids did this year is they were able to take care of business each and every game. And I think the most impressive part about it was they were not just necessarily beating teams, they were beating teams by a lot. And that included a big win in week 3 against Reed City. They had only one loss in the regular season, and it was in week 1. So they'd rattled off 8 in a row, 9 in a row with the win against Ludington. It wasn't their best game last week, and Whitehall's defense stepped up big time against that Cardinal offense. So Whitehall will move on to play Grand Rapids South Christian there for that regional championship in Division 4. So that's going to be a fun football game. But Coach Seltzer's team, really fantastic season. How about the defense from them this year? Looking back, 2012 is the last time that this defense gave up under 160 points. That's impressive. 160 was the final mark on the season, and that was also in 10 games as opposed to the Cardinals playing 11. That just goes to show how great that defense was, especially some fine players and some fine coaches as well. Fortunately, season comes to an end. For Reed City, up 131. Their season is still on. 41-32 win over Standish Sterling. Boy, what a good Standish Sterling football team that is. The Panthers really threw a lot of heavy hitters at Reed City, especially that D back room in the secondary. Reed City was able to step up big time. They were able to make some plays in the run game, especially in the first quarter. Just a huge day on the ground, over 300-plus yards rushing from Reed City to be able to get through the Panthers at home, make it 11-1 at the House of Pain. And especially their defense hasn't been as good as it's been overall in previous years, but I'll tell you what, the defense has had a very, very nice flip of the script since Pontiac Notre Dame, where they allowed 6, 14, 20, and then obviously 32 last night, but they played a much better game than what the scoreline will tally. Just a couple pass plays got away from them, but other than that, they were able to contain the run pretty well, especially against a really talented quarterback in Brody Sullivan, who might go somewhere to play college football. Very impressive win for Coach Schenkel and company, especially. Think that was one of the biggest wins. Felt like in a lot of our district championship games, that was one of the tightest games we knew coming in. There's a really, really tough opponent with that draw from the MHSA and the selection show. We had followed Standish Sterling for a while. We knew they were going to be in the hunt, but boy, were our boys up to the task. That is a major statement win there for Reed City against Standish Sterling. Last couple of years playing Hart as well as playing Muskegon Catholic Central. Those games on paper were not necessarily to the same caliber as what we saw against Standish Sterling. So that's a big win. Reed City now will face Boyne City, who spoiled the reunion trip last night. Come back, defeat over Kingsley in the second half. So the Ramblers will make their way down 131 to face the Coyotes in the House of Pain next Friday night. We'll have all the coverage for you there on the rundown, as well as we'll preview all the brackets, all on and so forth for all of that good stuff. Over in McBain, the Ramblers obviously not playing in McBain, but unfortunately their season came to an end over on the Lakeshore against a really talented North Muskegon team. A North Muskegon team actually that myself, JT Scarpelli, Mark Holcomb, Jason Kostecki, all of our football broadcasters this season were able to see in a scrimmage. North Muskegon looked good. They really moved the ball around against Big Rapids' defense. They were able to do so a little bit. I think McBain's defense this year did not get enough credit. They played fantastic throughout the entirety of the year. They only allowed 156 points. They scored 427. I believe that's one of the biggest margins in school history since all the way back in at least 2011 was the nearest. Very impressive on both sides of the ball for a really talented player group and a very talented coaching staff. And so we'll see. Obviously, not able to get to the regional final, but still a great season to hang your hat on at the end of the day if you're a Rambler fan. Really impressive stuff from the offense all year long. Just a great effort from North Muskegon, who they will likely, potentially, can't confirm. This is obviously a Saturday game, but right now the favorite for North Muskegon, as far as an opponent is concerned, will be the Maroons of Menominee, who McBain lost to in the postseason last year. We'll go over into the CSAA battle in Newaygo. Boy, what a game that was. What a game that was. What was a 21-12 affair back in week 2 in favor of the Lions turned into a 35-34 shootout. The Lions hold off the Hornets. What a huge win at home, 35-34 for a district championship. Big time stuff from Coach Munger's team. They had battled injuries all year. It felt like they were just really battling, and they were able to get a group that has stayed consistently on the field, and it has showed. It has showed in a major way. They are now going to be on their way to play their 12th football game in a season. Last time that team has ever done that, for those that want to take a guess, that would have been back in 2012. Those that remember that, Newaygo took down Grant, then Reed City, to have the right to play Grand Rapids West Catholic in the regional final, where they would fall 21-7. So historic stuff from Coach Munger and that offensive group, especially. I think it's really impressive to see the turnaround that they've had, especially over the last couple of games of the season, just completely battling with the injury bug, and they've been able to squeak it out. Good football teams always seem to do so. So Newaygo will face Lansing Catholic at home next week on the 15th. That should be a whale of a football game. Last local score here from the postseason that we'll get to is an opponent of Reed City's, actually two of them, Glen Lake and Beale City. What a football game we were hoping to see, and we got it. It was a great football game. Not as many points as we may have thought when we predicted our score lines here behind closed doors. 21-14 was the final score in favor of the Aggies. They get the win on the road at Maple City against Glen Lake. What a huge win for Beale City, a big win for Coach Gross, as they are now chasing a semifinal appearance if they were able to get a win here against opponent TBD. They're obviously going to be awaiting the East Jordan Iron Mountain bout that will take place right here on Saturday. So you'll get that bracket update when you do so after that game is over on Big Rapids Daily News and BigRapidsDailyNews.com. Excuse me. So really great stuff from Beale City. Obviously reached the semis last year. Obviously, a couple years back, got to the final. They obviously have made it over the last couple years in 2018 as well as 2021. They got to Ford Field, losing both of those games in tightly contested bouts. But I think it's really impressive. Watching that team firsthand, you can tell that is a really, really good football team. Glen Lake is too. They got a lot of athletes that are going to be going places. So big shout out especially to those coaching staff for putting on a great performance. There we saw that game 9 and 10 was covering that one greatly, as well as Boyne City and Kingsley up there. Great games up north. Fantastic games up north, and especially just what a great time of year it is. Postseason football doesn't get any better than this. We're going to take a break. We're going to pay some bills. We'll be right back with more scores, including cross country as well as district volleyball. Coming up after this right here on WBRN.
The West Michigan Sports Show is brought to you by Dazos Digital. Dazos Digital specializes in a number of crucial business elements in today's advanced world of technology. Dazos Digital specializes in web design, digital content creation, including graphic design for logos, advertising, and digital videos. Dazos Digital also works with programmatic digital display advertising and YouTube digital video advertising. They also work with premium and performance audio streaming, both via the Big Rapids Media radio station streams as well as Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, and more. Find out more information at DazosDigital.com.
Welcome back here to the West Michigan Sports Show presented by Dazos Digital. Navigate your way through the digital wilderness with DazosDigital.com. We continue with our local scoreboard as we'll get into district volleyball action. But first, I wanted to make sure to complete our coverage of the state finals from not this weekend, but last weekend down there at Michigan International Speedway. We got to Division III and Division IV last week as I was able to come into the studio just before our 3 o'clock start time and pre-record, as we obviously got a lot of things in Ferris State Athletics over the next weekend and so we never got to the Division II and Division I ranks, so we'll go over those with the local teams for you here right now, highlighting Division II first on the men's side. Really great performances all across the board from a lot of these schools. Allendale is your state champion as a team. Fremont notably finishing in the 9th spot there on the men's side. Those really the notable Cedar Springs as well in 15th. So those are the kind of the local schools and how they did. But we'll get you the local results as far as all of our local teams, including Big Rapids, as well as some other local teams. It's great to see a lot of these local schools doing well at the high level. And I think when it comes to the Speedway in general, many people will think, yeah, it's a great place to run. It's a great place that's really fast. And some of those things, obviously the course is really not made to be fast, but it's just the environment. It's the fans, it's the coaches that just make it that much better. And I think it's super impressive to see all of these athletes just competing super well year after year. It seems like every year it's getting faster, folks. Technology as well as athlete development is at an all-time high, and now we can see why there's such fast times. Individuals on the men's side to highlight, Fremont's Blake Taylor ran a PR his senior season, 16:06. Hayden Gould ran a 16:08 as a senior. Congratulations to Hayden. They're out of Big Rapids, finishing 44th. Carter Sherman of Fremont, 84th overall, followed by his teammate Cole Lowry, a pair of seniors, 84th and 89th. Alex Culver of Tri-County, 16:47 for the junior. He will come back for a stellar senior season if I'm going to be a Nostradamus prediction guy. They're finishing 108th. Cayenne Deem, 16:51. They're in his final race of his high school career. Congratulations on a great career for Cayenne. As well as Chase Lowry, Mawson Green, Isaac Romero, and Andreas Kropp of Fremont, bringing up the rear at 16:57, 17:07, 17:31, and 18:24. Bringing up the rear, not in the race, but of our local competitors. So congratulations to those schools. We'll flip on over to the women's side here, as I'll pull them up here on my screen. Really impressive stuff, especially from some local teams as well. I think it just goes to show when you go with a lot of these team scores. Obviously, Goodrich is your champion. Good results from Ludington and Cadillac as they finished 12th and 14th, respectively, as well as you saw quite a few runners over on the west side doing really, really well. That was kind of notable, and from Holland and Zeeland East. And so those programs have really got it figured out when it comes to racing under the lights, especially with a lot of these teams. And it just goes with experience. Many people don't believe that the experience part is necessary. Those that have raced at the Speedway before have a major, major advantage when it goes back to running a second time. So we'll get into the Division II women's as we get to the individual results. Annabelle Lohman is an all-stater out of Ludington, 1821 for the sophomore. Ella McInerney of Cadillac, 16th overall for the sophomore, 1831. Brooklyn Brown, her teammate, right behind in 21st. Linnea Page of Fremont in 52nd at 1915. Nadia Grierson there, 69th of Ludington, 1937. Chloe Mazza at 2025, as well as Allison Brandt out of Ludington, the sophomore, 2030. Autumn Brower at 2053. Kylie Johnson, 2104 for the Orioles. And then Ruth Hansen, Kate Brown, Carly Gaylord for Cadillac coming in 192, 221, and 225. Shelby McCallum of Ludington at 2236 for the freshmen, as well as Piper Tracy at 2238 and Summer Brower 2337 there for your local scores there for the Orioles. So that concludes all of our cross-country coverage. We'll wrap a bow on that. Obviously, no teams at the Division I level, and so we won't waste your time and go through the big-wig names you probably haven't even heard of. So we'll get back to the local sports scoreboard now. I know there's many people tuning in potentially for those volleyball district scores, and I have them for you. We did have a result from last night on Friday. For those curious, Morley Stanwood in the District 73 championship against Carson City Crystal. Took 4 sets, but the Mohawks get it done. What a big win, 20-25. They fall in the first set, and they come back 25-16, 25-18, and 25-9 for a district championship. Congratulations to the Mohawks on what has been a stellar season so far. Other district actions from back on Thursday. Clare defeats Reed City in what was a title-weight fight. The first point was 30-28. First set, I should say, was 30-28 in points. Holy cow. Clare comes back, though, to win the next 3 in dominant fashion, so they win the district championship in District 35. Fremont against Grant. The Packers get the best of the Tigers after their stellar season, 25-14, 25-6, 25-19, as well as Morley Stanwood defeated Lakeview in straight sets to get to that district championship, as we just mentioned, as well as Carson City Crystal defeated White Cloud in 4 sets. It was just a great overall volleyball match. 3 of the sets within 3 points and finishing tallies. Very impressive stuff from the Indians all year long. And Kent City, their run comes to an end in District 74 as they fall in 4 sets to Muskegon West Michigan Christian. So there you have it there, as Kent City had a fantastic season, but it comes to an end a little earlier than they probably would have liked. Back on November 6th on Wednesday for some of these teams, how they got to their respective spots. Chip Hills falling to Clare in straight sets, 3-0. As well as Reed City took down Ludington in 4 sets. What a big back and forth matchup that was. All of those games basically were within a couple points of each other throughout the majority of the match. Very impressive stuff from both of those teams. Newaygo and Fremont did battle, and as many of you may have heard earlier on, the Packers were able to take down Newaygo, but took 4 sets from the Lions as they fight back. Sparta falling to Grant. What a big win for the Tigers to advance to that district semifinal, as well as Kent City against North Muskegon. That one took the penultimate 15-13 final set in order to win that one. And then all the way back, we go on Monday. Big Rapids and Reed City. Reed City wins in 5. What a match that was. Tri-County falls to Grant in straight sets, as well as Central Montcalm falls to Belding in District 39 action. And Holton fell to the Eagles in the opening round. So that gets you your volleyball district lines. And right now we got 1 local team remaining here so far. Or I should say, technically, I'll give him credit. I'll give 2 in respect to Fremont, who's formerly in the conference, but obviously we will look more at Morley Stanwood because the Mohawks they're charging on, folks. What a great job. by Moily Stanwood. Right now, looking at the regional bracket, which is a very exciting thing to say. After winning in Blanchard Montebello last night, they will be back in action in Region 19, and they will have an interesting matchup coming up on deck, and that is certainly to say with Granville Calvin Christian. Both teams come in with almost identical records on paper. Both teams have some power offensively. Boy, it's going to be a really fun matchup. The winner of that regional semifinal will take on Muskegon, West Michigan Christian, or Pewamo Westphalia, whoever comes out of the win there at Kent City. And that just goes to show it's an absolute bummer Kent City couldn't win. Otherwise, they would have hosted a regional with that team. That would have been impressive stuff. As well as some other local teams around that will be competing in the regional and in Division 3. Highlight, of course, we just talked about them in football just a while ago. McBain and Beale City will be doing battle. That should be fantastic for the viewership pleasure. That's going to be at Houghton Lake on the 12th at 5:30 p.m. That start time and date for Moily Stanwood will be the 12th. So that'll be Tuesday there from Kent City in what they call the Nest. What a great name that is. There with the Eagles mascot. 7 o'clock opening serve there from Kent City. The earlier game will be at 5:30. So that gets you all of your wrap-up coverage here for district volleyball. Great season overall for a lot of these great teams. And it's especially great to see that we're seeing a lot of these local teams making it on to the next level. And obviously not able to get to the regional round, but still district title contention, competition at its all-time high. You absolutely love to see that. And we really look forward to seeing what all these teams have in store next year. And if you love volleyball, got to plug it one more time. You guys got to check out, if you're in the Big Rapids area, you got to check out this Fair State volleyball team. I can't say I don't have enough adjectives to describe how good this team is. And I don't want to use the final couple seconds here to just rant on them, but I will do so because they deserve it. They have not lost a game. They are 24-0. And they are right now number 1 in the entire country, folks. They are playing some of their best volleyball. This is a legendary team that we have right now. A lot of them coming back for one more go-around. A lot of these fifth-year seniors that have played really well throughout their career. Kaylee Mock, Claire Nowicki, as well as just nameless other individuals. It'd take me too much time to go through them all. But it's super impressive to see the run that they're on. And for those that are listening live over the airwaves right now, head on over to Bulldog Arena after you're done listening to this episode here at 4 o'clock. That will be an opening serve at 5 o'clock at Bulldog Arena. We hope to see you there as there'll be Inglac action. But we'll see you next week here with more football coverage. We got more teams on the move. You love to see it. That's going to do it for the West Michigan Sports Show. Brandon Wirth signing off. Big thanks to Dazos Digital, and big thanks to you, the fans. Be sure to subscribe and follow. And until next Saturday, we'll see you later here on the West Michigan Sports Show here on WBRN.